Hey guys, glad. Don't know how many are going to be on the line here with us as we start talking about the Anchor Wisdoms book. It looks like a lot of you have gotten them so far, and we need to start talking about these principles. So the first one, of course, is be in business on purpose. Now, just to give you a little bit of background of how some of these principles started. For example, is that the first three all combine and kind of work together. So, for example, be in business on purpose, be market driven, and act like an investor and not a parent. The background of these is one time I used to be an entrepreneurship instructor at an organization called CEO Space. And at the time it was called Income Builders International, or IBI, and I did that while I had my business consultancy, in which we spent, probably 4 years working with over 300 businesses, trying to pinpoint exactly what it was that was helping entrepreneurs move forward or not. And so it was in the backdrop of that environment that we started to realize some consistent things. And I essentially developed those first three anchors to guide new entrepreneurs through the idea of not just randomly working with ideas for the sake of the idea itself. So, for example, people might have seen an opportunity, for example, and just jumped on that opportunity. Or they may have or they may just have just a cornball idea, for example, things that may have no market relevance or demand whatsoever. And so as a result, this is the core of why a lot of people fail. And maybe failure, I'm not dissing failure. Failure is actually an important aspect of success. In fact, all successes are built on a mountain of failures, and so a lot of times it's failing forward or the continuation of moving forward that's important. But the crux of that is to make sure that you know what is important by knowing where it is that you're going. In other words, understanding your purpose or understanding your why, right? Your motivations. These are the reasons that you're in business in the first place. And a lot of times people start with maybe a random idea or something like that where they're thinking, well, yeah, I want to be a business owner, or maybe it's even something that they like, but it doesn't really necessarily lead to any sort of grand conclusion, nor does it head the direction that a person actually wants to go. And so being in business on purpose is about understanding your core destination, the ultimate destination, the place that you are intending to go. So for example, if you intend to be in certain market segments, like $1 billion, say you're striving to be a billionaire, for example, or or you want to be worth $100 million, you want to be worth $5 million, you want to be worth $1 million or $100,000 or something, or maybe just pay your rent, but you have to understand that everything you do then has to align with that ultimate objective. So for example, if I want to create $1 billion, I'm not going to do that basically in certain industry segments. If the market has to be relevant to the destination that you want to go. You're not going to be a personal coach, for example, and probably top out, maybe at $300,000 a year or so. But you just have to understand that certain industry segments are going to have their limitations. It takes scale to create a large organization or a large business, for that example, or a lot of cash flow. You have to have the market space for that. So if you're going for billions, for example, there's certain consumer aspects, or there has to be enough cash flow in that industry, for example, enough people that want that, and you have to have the capacity to deliver. And that's another major aspect. Another thing that I would see over and over again is that sometimes people would have a grand idea, but lack the ability to produce or serve enough people to create the desired objective. You know, even $1 million, for example, is quite an undertaking. I hear people oftentimes diss people with large incomes, for example, millionaires or billionaires, and there's negative rap about that because of the level of income, assuming that an individual has that sort of income. That's actually not the case. It's not the way that it works. To generate income of any level is actually a mechanism. An individual by themselves can only generate about $250,000 a year if you're operating on your own personal effort and energy. And so to do that, you have to look at scope and scale. You have to understand how to leverage, for example, how to leverage your energy and effort. And of course, if you get into 500, 600, $1 million, $2 million, this is leveraged income. In other words, there's more components than a single individual. And so the income is not necessarily relevant to the person. That's why the whole conversation about that is basically, it's misleading and also discouraging to those that might desire freedom and abundance. And so just some things of it. Most important thing is to be in business on purpose. Understand what your grand objective is. Make sure that the activities that you're doing, the businesses that you're engaged in, are leading towards your ultimate objective and not away from it. And then, of course, being willing to patiently grow through that process. And if you know your ultimate purpose, then of course you'll be patient along the way. All right, that's our thought this time for Be in Business on Purpose, guys. We'll catch you in a week or so for the next one.